And we're live. Welcome back for another stream, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. How is everyone doing? Thank you so much for being here. It's a Tuesday deadline today, and it is Gameweek 17 already. Just 2 days since Gameweek 16 concluded. In fact, not even that. Just under 2 days since we saw the tail end of Gameweek 16, and here we are. Gameweek 17 is here. Loads to discuss on this one, and it's been quite a dramatic couple of days. Perhaps one of the most dramatic game weeks of the season, so we're going to attempt to discuss all of what's happened over the last couple of days. We'll cover all the talking points, the news roundup. We've got the kings of the game week, the scout selection, the most transferred in and out players, bookies, odds, double game weeks, blank game weeks, African Cup of Nations, and so much more. So thank you for being here, everyone. Good to have you all here. And yeah, it was a red arrow last game week, obviously down from rank 1 to rank 2, so there we go. Hopefully a green arrow this game week, but I'm going to be making my transfers on this stream. I thought I may as well do my transfers as late as possible because you never know if there's any last minute news. So Ronaldo's still in the team, but he's probably going to be the one making way. I was very, very on the fence all day about taking a -4 to get rid of Gilmore, but I'm probably not going to do it. I'm probably going to play boring. I think there's going to be a lot of hits this game week, unfortunately. And yeah, it's going to be a tough game week because you can never plan for these postponements. You know, you can kind of plan for fixtures and pick up players in form and that sort of thing, but it's just so much tougher this season when you've got games getting called off. You know, I'm sure there's so many people that sold Son, Kane, Reguilon, you know, Mbumo, Tony, players like that, to pick up players like Ronaldo, you know, Dalot, David De Gea, and then of course the Man United game goes and gets postponed as well. So, no, it's very tough. It's very tough. You know, all we can really do, I think, is try to have 2 transfers banked wherever possible, and you know, just remain flexible. That flexibility is going to be crucial. So yeah, thanks so much for being here, everyone. Absolute pleasure to have so many here. We've already got 1,069 tuned in, which is absolutely mind-boggling. And likewise, if you're watching this on catch-up, thank you so much for that. If you are watching on catch-up, as always, there are timestamps in the description, so you can jump around to the various bits in the stream. But let's start with a news roundup because it's been quite a crazy week for the news. But we'll start with Man United, which of course is that the Premier League have confirmed that the game against Brentford on Tuesday has been postponed, i.e. today. So that is a blank game week for Man United and Brentford, which is brutal because, like I said earlier, so many of us picked up players like Ronaldo, Dalot. You know, people sold Sanchez and got David De Gea, which is a very reasonable set of moves, but another blank and more double game week later in the season. Some comments on Pep. None of the players have been affected, fortunately, but he did say in his conference yesterday that some of the Man City staff have it right now. So again, this is something to keep an eye on. It's obviously a very developing situation, but yeah, Pep confirmed some Man City staff do have COVID. And the hope, of course, is that it doesn't spread any further to players or other staff. Some slightly positive news amidst the game week riddled with bad news. Kante and Chalobah have returned to training today. I presume it's just light training at this point. I don't know if they're ready to be in the match squad. But some news on Chilwell as well. He's stepped up his recovery and done some light fitness work. And this is ahead of his targeted return, so he could be back early January. Which I don't think is a big issue either, because I think most of us with the likes of Alonso, Rudiger, etc. might be looking to move our Chelsea defenders on by them anyway, because of course they've got a couple of blanks coming up. The next one is just a rumour at this point, but there's rumours that one goalkeeper and 3 outfield players for Brighton have provided a positive COVID test, and there are rumours that it's Sanchez, the goalkeeper, who is one of those affected. The goalkeeper mentioned here, so it could be Steele that comes in goal for Brighton, which again is just brutal and you can't prepare for that. Some Everton news. Richarlison has undergone a scan on his calf for an injury he sustained against Crystal Palace in their defeat, and he could miss some key games in December, so just goes from bad to worse for Everton really. But I also wanted to include this because many of us have got Chelsea defenders, so that's good news in that sense, because that's one less attacker for Everton for that game against Chelsea this game week. it is a bit of a bad news roundup in the sense that there's so much negative news. But Southampton news next, and Livramento has been flagged. 75% chance of playing. He's got a gashed leg apparently. I think he picked up a cut in the last game. So this might be a game where we needed Livramento the most, but I'm not sure if he'll be there or not for us to call upon him. But yeah, obviously, lastly, the BBC Sports said 42 Premier League players and staff tested positive for COVID in the last week, which is the most results ever recorded in the league over a 7-day period. So, yeah, COVID very, very much in our thinking and a huge talking point and a massive problem, and it could get worse before it gets better. Oscar asks, Foden or Jota? I think Jota just edges it if I had to pick between the two. He got a rest last game, obviously. He came off the bench and played 30 or so minutes, 32 minutes against Villa. And he actually, in those 32 minutes, he had the highest XG underperformance of the game week. He had an XG of 0.8 just in that half an hour or so he played, but he failed to score. So for the second game week in a row, Jota was the biggest XG underperformer because he had similar XG last game week. Game week 15 and failed to score. So the numbers look good for Jota, and I think he will start this one, and it's a great looking fixture. What else? Onto the Kings of the Game Week update. So this is how it looks after Game Week 16. It was actually Tielemans who joined the Kings of the Game Week with a 16-pointer. James Maddison also got 16 points, but when it's a tie, it's given to the player who's cheapest, in which case it was Tielemans. So, for those that are on our Discord, you'll know that we've got a Kings of the Game Week channel where you can guess which player you think is going to be the highest scorer. And there's a little prize every game week for that, so don't forget to get your guess in on the Discord. And if you're not on the Discord, link in the description to that. Onto the scout selection for Game Week 17, which is as follows. I'll just read it out in case you've got any audio listeners. So it's Greater in goal. Alexander, Zinchenko and Lamptey in defence, back three. Salah captain. Jota, Foden, Mount, Sterling, Lacazette and King. What do you guys think of the scout selection this game week? Zinchenko's an interesting one. I suppose he's guaranteed to play this one because Cancelo's out, of course. Did I miss a donation? I'll scroll up. Sorry if I missed a donation. Bear with me while I scroll back up. It was Anirudh. He says, Gallagher, Mount, Smithrow, Foden. Who to pick? I've got BS and Bowen. Who's BS? BS. Who's BS? I'm trying to think who BS is. I mean, I know what BS stands for, but we're talking about player here. You've got Bowen, so I think if I had to pick between them, I think I would go for Gallagher. He's got a great looking fixture this game against Southampton. Southampton, of course, missing their first two choice goalkeepers. So I think Gallagher would be the one I pick there. The next four even look good for Gallagher. So I think I'd pick Gallagher. The concern with Chelsea, it depends if you're doubled up or you just got a single Chelsea player, is you're going to have to reverse back out of Chelsea assets in a few game weeks. So the next four don't look too bad, but then they've got Liverpool, Man City and Tottenham, and then they've got 2 blank game weeks. So I think by game week 20 you want to start dropping, or game week 21 you want to start dropping your Chelsea players. So that's something to bear in mind because those in a way are booked in transfers. And if you don't bear those booked in transfers at the back of your mind, you're going to arrive at game week 21 and you're going to be taking hits just to get yourself back out of that situation, and therefore Mount's points might have been redundant. Was there another donation? Ahmed says, oh, I've lost it. Where'd it go? I'll try and pay more attention to chat. Sorry for any messages I've missed. Andrea says, thanks for telling me not to get Richarlison yesterday. Appreciate that right now. Yeah, I remember you asking me that. I'm glad that one paid off. Andreas, one of the newest YouTube members. If anyone wants to support me by becoming a YouTube member, it's just the join button below the stream or the videos. And yeah, some of the perks include early access to videos and a private channel on the Discord where I'll give team feedback, which was where Andreas asked. But Ahmed's donation was bench one of Gundo, Pukki or Bowen. I have Foden and Antonio. I think I'd bench Gundogan. I don't think he'll start tonight. In fact, we'll talk about this a little bit later. There was I'll call it unreliable. There was an unreliable Man City leak, but I think we'll talk about it anyway, just in case there's any truth to it. They had made one or two correct leaks before, but I don't think enough for us to say it's gospel. Jordan says Dallo or Tellez for next week. I think Dallo, but I think he's still a wait and see for me. Maybe Wan-Bissaka gets a game over this busy schedule. Boris, how you doing, mate? Boris, another one of the newest YouTube members. He said, I transferred out Jota when he had a muscle injury. Should I transfer him back? Love the content. It depends who for, Boris. I think he's a good transfer in. You know, like I said, he was benched last game, got a half-hour cameo. Should have scored, really. And I think he'll start this game, which is against Newcastle at home. Newcastle off the back of a 4-0 loss, so I think it could be a good game for Jota. I wouldn't go as far as captaining him, but I think he's well up there on the predicted points. So I've got a question for everyone in chat. How many of the most transferred in players can you name heading into Gameweek 17? Guesses in the chat. The most transferred in players for Gameweek 17. Tehar says start Tomiyasu or Dyer. I think Tomiyasu. Ayush says Jano or Vi. Abar says, what are your transfers? So I've got Ronaldo, and I think I'm probably going to do Ronaldo to Watkins. I think I'm going to end up not rolling, but I'm not going to make a second move because that would have been a -4. So I probably will just do Ronaldo to Watkins, and then yeah, next game I've got to decide where I want to go with that. A lot of guesses in the chat for Dennis. A few guesses for Gallagher. It was the most transferred in player. Let's have a look at who it was. Most transferred in. It is indeed Dennis. Just shy of 700,000 managers have picked up Dennis heading into Game Week 17. Second's actually Watkins. That's interesting. I suppose it's going to be all those Ronaldo owners looking for a Ronaldo replacement. And there is, it's pretty slim pickings as far as Ronaldo replacements go. I think if you don't have Dennis or King, one of those is fairly obvious. I think Antonio, just for the upcoming fixtures. But beyond that, there's really not many forwards that appeal. I mean, look at this. Mopai is on the top list here. Over 100,000 have picked up Mopai. Antonio's there, but hang on. Alright, this is a lesson to learn through other people's mistakes. And if you're one of these that made the mistake, then I can only apologise. But over 140,000 managers have picked up Ronaldo heading into Game Week 17, who of course has a blank game week. So, I mean, it's a bad idea to make early transfers as it is, but when you're in the middle of a pandemic and we've already had postponements, you have to make your transfers as late as possible. You might miss out on price rises, but points over budget, basically, at the end of the day. You know, if you end up having to take a -4 to now get rid of Ronaldo, you know, you've not even gained money there because you have to sell him back out. Conrad, thank you for the donation. He says, I have Tony, Ronaldo, Dennis. Should I take a -8 for Ronaldo to Sterling or Antonio or Watkins? Luis for Foden or Bernardo, and Livra for Rudiger and Cash. Difficult one. I would probably get Antonio. I think he's the better long-term pick. I've just seen Jano's message. I think I'd probably go for Antonio. I don't think I'd take a -8, to be honest with you. You've got Dennis, so that's fine. So I think I'd probably do, depending on the rest of your team, I think I would just do Ronaldo to Antonio. And then if you could field an 11, I'd leave it at that. But if you can't even field an 11, then I'd probably take the -4, but I wouldn't take the -8. And also thank you to Ivan, who's the newest FPLfocal member. Thank you for that, Ivan. Really appreciate that. Like I said, if anyone's interested in supporting the channel, then if you become a YouTube member, it's like a few quid a month. Includes some perks like early access to videos and a private channel on Discord where I'll give team feedback. Okay, the next question. How many of the most transferred out players can you name? I suppose you might be able to guess the most transferred out, but how many of the most transferred out players can you name heading into Game Week 17? Akshay says, thoughts on the Wolves defence? Not really tempted by the Wolves defence. The fixtures aren't great, and I think really right now the premium defence is the way. I think you need to have Cancelo. You could even double up with Diaz. I think you need to have one of James or Alonso, and you absolutely have to have Trent. So I don't think Wolves defenders is the way to go. A lot of guesses for Cancelo for the most transferred out. Louis guesses Ronaldo. That's interesting, actually. I thought it was Ronaldo, but I might be totally mistaken. Maybe it is Cancelo. Most people are guessing Cancelo, so maybe I'm wrong. Let's have a look. Most transferred out player heading into Gameweek 17. It is Cancelo. Over 560,000 have sold Cancelo. What do you guys think about that? Is that a bit reactionary? I was saying on the team selection video, if anything, I see this Cancelo suspension as a good thing. We knew that at some point he was going to get rested. It may have even been this Leeds game. So now we know for a fact he's going to miss a game. He's going to come back rested. And you'd presume he comes straight back into the starting 11, which is Newcastle. So I don't know where these managers are going that are selling Cancelo. I think he's an easy hold. Or your team's in an incredibly good position if that's the sort of move you can be making. Mikkel, thanks for the donation. He says, Lacazette worth considering. Or Ronaldo and Mbeumo to Watkins and Gallagher or Bowen. No, I'm not tempted by Lacazette. He doesn't seem to be able to play the full 90 nowadays. I know that there's some disciplinary issues with Aubameyang, but I don't think Lacazette is the one. I think the forwards to get right now, and this just shows how slim the pickings are, is Dennis, King, Antonio and Watkins, probably in that order. And the other question was Gallagher or Bowen. This is a good question, actually. So my opinion is that longer term, Bowen is the one. But if you're looking for something shorter term, or you can potentially get in both at some point, then I'd go with Gallagher first because he's got Southampton and then Watford. But Bowen, I think he's a very, very good pick as well. I think Bowen's slightly less nailed. He could be rotated at some point. We have seen it already this season. We saw it last season. I think Gallagher for the immediate returns and Bowen's the better longer term pick, so whatever you're looking for there. But you know, Gallagher's got Southampton and Watford. Tottenham could be tough, and then Norwich, West Ham, good games. And likewise Bowen, he's got Arsenal, which could be tough, but then beyond that he's got an equally good run. And in terms of the underlying numbers, there's not much to separate the two, so hope that helps. Did I miss another donation? It was Least Donate. He says, thanks for the great content. What are your thoughts on doubling up on King and Dennis? I've got Antonio, King and Hwang at the moment. 1 free transfer and 2 mil in the bank. I'm not totally keen on doubling up on Watford strikers, to be honest. I think they're not an attacking enough side to be going all in like that. You know, all it takes for Burnley to keep a clean sheet at home to Watford, not out of the question, and you've got 2 blanks, 2 2-pointers max. So I think I would probably look towards someone like Watkins instead of doubling up on Watford strikers. That's probably the way I would go there. Alex, thanks for the donation. He says, Ronaldo and Mbeumo to Watkins and Foden from -4. Only have 11 if Liverpool plays. Rank is 59th right now, getting closer. Got to look out for Alex. Yeah, I like those moves in combination. If you only can field 11. Yeah, great pair of moves. I was considering Foden myself, but it would have been a -4. But in my case, I can field 11, and I've got Gilmore on the bench and Livramento. But I like the Foden move. I think he starts tonight, so I do like that. Caesar, thanks so much for becoming an FPLfocal member. Appreciate that very much. Thanks so much. Drop me a DM on Discord, and I'll help you set up access to the private channel if you need a hand. Super Soccer said, I need to take a -8 to play a full 11. Is it worth it? It depends who you're getting in Super Soccer, but yes, I would say it's worth it if you can't even field an 11. It's a bit of a cliche, but we often say taking a -4 is a -2 when you literally can't field players. Sorry, got distracted there. Yeah, I think it's worth it if you literally can't field an 11. So I think I would take the -8. It's going to be a rough game week, but as long as you make sensible transfers, you know, don't take a -8 for someone like Matty Cash. I'll say that Matty Cash will go on the haul now, won't he? Simon, thanks for the donation. He says, hi, I wanted to do Ronaldo and Brownhill to Watkins and Foden, but then I'd like 0.1 to upgrade Hwang to Antonio next week. Get Bernardo instead of Foden. Difficult one. If you're dead set on Antonio, then it has to be Bernardo. You know, if you're dead set on that move, then I think it has to be. Otherwise, you're going to be taking a -4 next game week to accommodate those moves. So, yeah, I think if you're set on Antonio, and I think that's a very, very good move in game week 18. You know, he's got Norwich at home and then Southampton at home and then Watford away. So I think it has to be Bernardo. CFC Family says, you missed my super chat. Oh, sorry about that. He said, I'll try again. Would you prioritise to transfer out Rafinha or Wilson for the long run? Love these deadline streams, by the way. Sorry I missed your message earlier, or the super chat. I would prioritise Wilson. I think Rafinha, at this point, he's almost a keeper in your team. You know, he's been getting the returns despite some tougher fixtures. On penalties while Bamford's out, got the one against Chelsea. And at the moment, it seems like most of us have got more pressing moves to make, so I may even end up keeping him. I talked for some time about how I was going to sell him for the tough run of games, but it's been such a disruptive, unpredictable season that I've ended up with other moves I've had to make. So, at the moment, Rafinha stays in my team. He's in my starting 11 this week, and he may not even leave it. So I hope that helps. It'll be Wilson. Can't believe all the donations coming in. This is crazy. Scraps Lewis says, hi mate, great content, well done on the rank. Ronaldo to Watkins, done. Brownhill to Foden or Dallo to Diaz. I already have Bernardo. Do you have Gallagher or Bowen? I'm not sure. Yeah, difficult one. Do you have Cancelo as well? I'm not sure if I'd want to do Diaz, to be honest with you. Tough one. The problem with Foden is right now it seems like we want players who are going to be starting, and that's why I quite like Gallagher. He's in good form, and you know he's going to play week in, week out. He'll play the 90. He's in good form at the moment, and his average position last game week was much further forward than it was the couple of game weeks before. So perhaps Vieira saw the light after playing him so deep. And of course he scored 2, I believe. One of them was an absolute worldie at the end of the Everton game. So I actually think Gallagher, if anything. I mean, that's just my opinion, though. So in my case, I'm going to do Ronaldo to Watkins, and I've got enough to change Gilmore to anyone. Literally even Son if I wanted, but not Son. And I was looking at Gallagher the most as the player I'd take the -4 for, not Foden. So hopefully that helps. Right, what else? Goalscorer odds. Let's take a very quick look at these. Salah is top, 58.5% chance of scoring. It's actually the Liverpool front three that topped the charts. I don't know whether we'll see Firmino start this one. Jota's second. Mane's third. Of course, the bookies odds presume the player starts, and that's not always the case. Hence Ronaldo's inclusion here. Lukaku, again, we're not sure if he'll start or not. Vardy, I suppose he'll come back into the starting 11 against Tottenham after getting a rest. Foden and Sterling equal, 38.5% chance. And the clean sheet odds, Chelsea top, 56.5% chance. And I suppose it's even likelier now that Richarlison's out with an injury. BG, thanks for the donation. He says, should I do Guaita injured to Ramsdale? Is he injured? Is that confirmed? I must have missed that. I heard there was rumours that he'd done his finger in, but I've not heard anything to actually confirm that that's the case. If you haven't got playing keeper, then I suppose I would be very tempted to make the move, but I haven't seen anything to confirm that he is definitely out from what I saw. I think Vieira said there's no one absent, if anything, but I might be mistaken. William Chewy, thanks for the donation. He said, great channel, would you prefer Foden or Bernardo Silva? I prefer Foden just for the higher upside, but I don't think there's much to separate them because Bernardo Silva looks a bit more nailed. Onto the predicted points, and this is courtesy of FPL Review. I forgot to give a shout out. It was checkthecharts.com that we were getting the bookies odds from. All this data used with their permission. But Salah is top on the predicted points. 9.6 predicted points for Salah. Is anyone in chat not going Captain Salah this game week? Max says, do you have a job outside of making videos? I do. I work in IT. I literally started early today just so I could finish early to do this stream. So yeah, I finished work at 5 o'clock and then I set the stream up and then away we go. So dinner after the stream ends. That's fine though. But yeah, I do. I have a full-time job. I work Monday to Friday. What are we talking about? Predicted points. So Mane second, 7.15. Trent is third, 6.73. And again, these are the sorts of players we always have to target in FPL. The value players. The players that make the top predicted points but are significantly cheaper. So players like Trent, Foden, Robertson, Jota, James, they make the top 10, but they're significantly cheaper than players like Salah. I think we must be about the halfway mark in the stream. So we'll play a round of Who's That Player in a second, but before we do, we've got a couple more donations. Hasir says, hey mate, Alonso and Smith Rowe to Cash and Maddison. No, definitely not. No, I wouldn't do that. I have to keep Alonso, right? And Smith Rowe, I think he comes back into the starting 11 personally. I think they're going to need him against West Ham, so I think Martinelli's probably the one that misses out, and I think Smith Rowe starts. I'm hoping so, because I'm relying on him to field in a full 11. And Maddison, I'm still not convinced by either. I think both of those moves are downgrades, if I'm honest. So, yeah, I mean, I've got both of those players, and I'm absolutely not considering moving either of them. And if Smith Rowe does come back into the side and does well, he's got Leeds and Norwich after that. Starbucks Liquor, love the username. It says, hey mate, I love the content from Australia. Thoughts on McGinn as a differential? How much is McGinn? I'm not actually sure how much he costs. I'm not sure about McGinn, to be honest with you. I think, oops, I've just tuned into someone else's deadline stream. Like I've got it muted. I don't know who's... I almost crashed someone else's deadline stream then. That'd be good. It's a shame YouTube doesn't have hosting like Twitch does. Just a random thought. That'd be quite a cool thing, wouldn't it? If you could end your stream and pass all the people tuned into another stream. I don't know why they don't make that a thing. Khaled says, I really like your content. Good luck, mate, in the game and hope you win. Thanks, Khaled. Appreciate that. Gareth says, Watkins and Ramsdale or Antonio Guaita for Gelhardt and Fernandez, or Antonio and Bachmann for Gelhardt and Foster. I think I would go with option B. I think I'll go Antonio and Guaita, assuming we don't get any news of Guaita being out. You know, there was rumours that he had the problem with his finger or something, but I've not heard much since, so I think he's probably going to be fine. Where else do we get to? Chintan says, hi mate, and Mbumo to Foden and Ings for Cristiano Ronaldo. I wouldn't get Ings. He's not even guaranteed that he starts this game week, so I think I wouldn't be getting Ings. I think Watkins is the one to get from Aston Villa, if anything. And Mbumo, I can understand selling him, but if you're looking to downgrade Ronaldo, I think it'd be Watkins rather than Ings. We're not even sure if Ings starts. Abola Rinwa donated as well. Thanks for the donation. There was no message, but thank you for that. Anyway, where did we get to? So we're going to play a round of Who's That Player. We're about the halfway mark to the deadline, so we'll play a round of Who's That Player. If anyone's not played before, there'll be cutouts of a player on screen and guesses in the chat who the player is. And while we play, I'll attempt to read some of the questions that are coming in. Sammy says De Gea or Alisson. De Gea, but obviously not for this game week. But I don't like Alisson either, so if I was going to pick a playing keeper, I think it'd be Ramsdale. Carlin says, thoughts on Boris Johnson's wig? I mean, I'm not one to talk. I've got a shocking hairdo as well, but yeah, it's a bit iconic, Boris Johnson's wig, isn't it? The less said about him, the better, I think. I better not talk politics on the stream. That must be a no-go for streams, right? We've got a few guesses for Benrahma, a few for Antonio, a few for Rudiger, Mbumo, Umtiti, Lukaku. The answer was Benrahma. Well done to those who got it. Here's the next one. Guesses in the chat. Who's that player? We've broken on YouTube by playing this one before because there was too many guesses in the chat. But if it happens, it happens. Guesses in the chat if you know who it is. Football highlights guesses Antonio. Teha guesses Lukaku. I don't know if chat's now behind. This is the problem with this game, right? Chat just absolutely flies. Kieran, oh, it's gone off the screen. There was a donation there. How do I get it back up? Kieran guesses bench one of White, Smith Rowe or Antonio. It'd have to be White, I would say. The answer was Zaha. Alright, next one. Guesses in the chat. Who's that player? Keep the guesses coming. Let's see if we break YouTube, as we have done before. Adam says, no one will ever see this message. Except me. Michael guesses Max Verstappen. Jay says Fat Ronaldo. Max guesses Bobby Zamora. This game is just crazy when there's this many people tuned in because I think the chat's behind. Janae guesses Smith Rowe. There's a few guesses for Smith Rowe, KDB. It's not De Bruyne, it's actually the Croydon De Bruyne. It was Emil Smith Rowe, who those of us who own him hope he'll be back into the starting 11 for the West Ham game. After missing a couple of games, of course. Hopefully straight back into the starting 11. Alright, a couple more. Guesses in the chat. Who's that player? We'll do a couple more of these and then we'll get back to the team. I still need to make my transfers, so remind me so I don't forget that. That would be an absolute disaster if I do this stream. The deadline comes and I've forgotten to make any transfers. I'm also going to just have a quick check if there's been any leaks or not as we approach the deadline. Keep the guesses coming while I have a quick look. Let's see, leaks. Interesting. Nothing much there, not really. Sam Martin said there's been a few meetings about the Leicester game, but both teams wanted to go ahead. It was Mason Mount. Okay, last one. Let's see if you get this one. This one's a bit harder. Guesses in the chat. Who's that player? NayFX says, which captains would you pick other than Salah for this game week? I wouldn't bet against Salah, honestly. He's top for pretty much every metric, but if you really wanted to bet against Salah, then I'd probably go for someone like Trent. Guesses in the chat. This is the last one. Who's that player? Russell, thanks for the donation. He says, only 10 players with Gundogan. Ronaldo and Norman to Watkins and Foden from -4. Or should I do Antonio to Watkins because of COVID? Yeah, I really like the Watkins Foden move. I do like that a lot. I'd probably do the same move, or maybe someone like Gallagher if you don't own him. But I think it's a very, very justified -4, Russell. So I think I'd probably do it. Yeah, the answer was Simicast, the forgotten man, much like Zaha, who we saw earlier playing in this game. I wonder if Simicast gets a game or two over this busy period. Mr. P says, back through with Liver, James, Trent and Dallo Cancelo bench. Should I replace Liver for a -4 for Walker? Good suggestion. I actually don't hate the Walker move. I was strongly considering him myself. Those who watched my team selection video will know I was looking at Walker to replace Livramento. So I don't hate it, to be honest with you. If you can't play a back three, so you've got Dallo who can't play, Cancelo who can't play. Liver is a doubt, that's the problem. So I think you do have to take a hit there for Livramento. I do think it's justified. And I imagine Walker is guaranteed to play the next couple. You know, Zinchenko, he would have played a few in a row, so I imagine Zinchenko will drop out when Cancelo comes back. Thanks for the donation. Gallagher versus Foden for a -4. Difficult one this. It depends if you've got Bernardo Silva or not. I wouldn't want to double up. So I'd probably go for Gallagher if you don't have Bernardo Silva. If you don't have any City players, then I'd be very tempted by Foden. But it also does depend on your team shape. You know, if this hit is to play a full 11, then it does leave you exposed in future game weeks. You know, Gallagher's a very safe pick. He's going to start. He's going to be getting minutes. He's been ticking over. I think he's the 3rd top scorer in midfielder. So it does depend on your team shape as well. If you think you can get Foden and you can afford the odd benching, which will probably happen at some point. You know, he could miss 2 of the next 5, for example. If you can ride that out, then I'd go for Foden, if not Gallagher. Max says, any last-minute Sanchez news? Not that I'm aware of. All we had was the reports there was an unnamed Brighton keeper that had COVID and a few outfield players. So there were rumours that it's Sanchez and therefore it'd be Steele that comes in for Brighton for that game. So we don't have much to go on there besides that. I don't think there's been any news or anything official. If anyone's not voted on the captain poll, that's on our Discord, and there's a link to the Discord in the description. I'll put a link in the chat as well. But it's a very good FPL resource. We've got things like the price changes, we've got the lineups, we've got the live scores. We've got the live points, bonus points, game week stats, injury updates, top 10k stats, insider trading, the news, transfer trends, and loads more. But we're going to take a look at the captain poll results, which are as follows. Wow. I think this might be a record number of votes for a player this season. I think last game was the previous record with Salah's 533. 579 votes for Salah. Second place is Trent with 16. 7 have gone for Ronaldo, but I presume that they voted before the news of the postponement. 7 for Bernardo. Interesting. 4 for Jota. Bold pick, but could come in. Looks like he'll start after getting a rest last game week. But yeah, Salah completely dominates the captain poll once again. And I'll spam the links in the chat as well for anyone that's not in our Discord, so you can all join that. I'll be on there throughout the game week, so I strongly recommend joining the Discord. And I'll be on there tonight as we watch the games as they unfold. Did I miss a donation? It was... it's Benjamin. Thanks for the quid. No message, just a donation. But thanks for that, Benjamin. Appreciate that very much. Raphael Martin says, you missed my last super chat. Sorry, Raphael. I do apologise. He said, should I play Lamptey or Livra? I would play Lamptey, definitely. Has to be Lamptey. Much more attacking threat. And, you know, Livramento may not even start. You know, he got a gashed leg and he's flagged at the moment. Zip says, Oscar, in your latest video, you made a mistake at 318, just letting you know. Did I really? Was that the clean sheet odds, Zip? I know that when I did the clean sheet odds, I accidentally included Leicester twice, I think. And I missed out Newcastle. But it's actually Newcastle who are rock bottom on the clean sheet odds. 5.5% chance, I believe. Let's pull the clean sheet odds back up. Yeah, 5.5% chance for Newcastle. So if anyone caught that, anyone eagle-eye caught that on the Roundup video, yeah, it was Newcastle that was missing on the clean sheet odds, and they've actually got the worst clean sheet odds for this game week for the away trip to Anfield, off the back of the 4-0 loss as well against Leicester. Junaid says, Son in for Vardy. No, I wouldn't get Son. Problem is, Son is one of those who got COVID, and we don't know yet whether he is going to be the one that comes back. Sorry, if he's back and ready for selection or not. So I don't think I'd be getting Son. Boris says, is it worth keeping Benteke? I only got one good game week out of him, and now Ayew is starting over him. Has he been getting benched the last few, Benteke? I mean, if he's been getting benched, then absolutely it's time to move him on. And I think you could probably quite easily go sideways to someone like Dennis or King, right? Here he is, Benteke. Yeah, it's not great. I mean, 2 out of the last 3 he was benched, and he came off early in game week 15. For 6.4, he's an easy sell. Easy sell. I mean, look, Dennis is 0.5 cheaper, and he's the top scoring forward in the game. I know you might have him already, Boris. I can't remember what your team is, but I think Benteke has to leave your team now. So how long have we got till the deadline? Is it 6:15 the deadline? Yeah. Just checking. The deadline did get moved 15 minutes later. It would have been in just a few minutes from now, but they moved the deadline, which totally broke my deadline reminder bot, by the way, on the Discord. I've got a bot that sends out reminders. You can literally, on the Discord, you can choose which alerts you want to receive, and it comes through on your phone. And one of those is deadline alerts, but it did break the bot. And the bot went off 15 minutes early. I suppose it's not broken, it's just, anyway. Did I miss another donation there? Urang says, Ronaldo and Luiz for Jota and Dennis. Yes, love that, definitely. Or Smith Rowe James, or Alonso out for Jota and White, -4. I think I like the Jota and Dennis move. You have to have Jota. I think he starts this game week, and could be a very, very good game week for Liverpool. I think they put a few past Newcastle. So I like the Jota move. And of course there's the African Cup of Nations. Speaking of, I did actually prepare a little slide for this as well. I mean, I've said I prepared it. It's actually from The Athletic. You might have seen this graphic before, but this is potential African Cup of Nations call-ups in the Premier League. And as you can see, there's a huge list of players here that could get called up. Some of them quite relevant assets, some of them completely irrelevant. Such as Aubameyang, who I believe lost his captaincy for Arsenal. Who do you think takes over as captain at Arsenal? Odegaard or Lacazette maybe? But anyway, in the case of Liverpool, Salah, Mane, huge misses. So Jota, you imagine, is going to be completely nailed while these two are away. And it's not for a few game weeks yet, so you've got some time. But I think it's very reasonable to jump on Jota this early. So I like the Jota and Dennis move, Yurang. So thanks for the donation. Another little graphic I've prepared is games to be confirmed. So this is already the games that have blanked or will blank. There's a couple that won't come up till later in the season and need to be rescheduled. So these are basically guaranteed double game weeks or triple game weeks later in the season. Now I've had quite a lot of questions this game week saying, should I triple captain Salah this game week? And the answer is an easy no, for two reasons. First of all, everyone's going Salah, as we just saw on the captain poll. So what's the upside there? The upside is much less. You want to go for the biggest upside possible. So say it was a pretty even split between Salah and another player. You know, say it was 50% each. Then it'd be a more feasible time to use it because there's more upside. But you look at this, Chelsea are going to have a couple of double game weeks, maybe a triple game week. Likewise with Spurs, they're going to have a guaranteed couple of double game weeks, or maybe a triple. So save your triple captaincy for whenever these get rescheduled. And it's not going to be for a while. It's probably going to be, at the earliest, game week 21. But we will get some double game weeks. And that's before even factoring in the usual double game weeks that come from teams blanking because they get through in other cup competitions such as, you know, the FA Cup, League Cup. When teams advance far in that, it clashes with the league games, so they get blanks and then subsequent doubles. Daja says, what are your transfers? So my planned transfer is, I'm planning to do Ronaldo out, and it's going to be Watkins that comes in. That's the plan. I've got 6 mil in the bank, which is significant, and there's a lot I could do with that. Gilmour could become pretty much any midfielder that I wanted. But I'm probably going to just take the one transfer. I'm going to avoid the -4. It's going to be a tough game week, I'll be honest. Number 1 in the world doesn't have Ronaldo. They don't have anyone like De Gea or players blanking, so they're in a very good position. Just checking if there are any more leaks. No leaks. So, yeah, that's my planned move. I'm going to get Watkins in, and then I've got 6 mil. It's a difficult one because there's not really any clear-cut choices up top. Antonio, I think he's well worth getting for the fixtures. Josh King or Dennis. I don't really like doubling up King and Dennis, so maybe Watkins. Could be on penalties at the moment, so that's probably my planned move. And I will lock the transfer in on this stream. We've got 2,655 watching right now, which is by far the most we've ever had. If you are enjoying the stream, do hit like. I prepared loads of content for this stream, so I hope you have enjoyed it so far. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Every game week, I release a minimum of 3 videos. There's a video on the top 100 all-time FPL managers, and that basically follows you know, their team selection, their transfer plans. I try and get one of them on for an interview. And yeah, the criteria for those managers is they need a minimum of 7 top 10k finishes or 4 top 1k finishes. And just barely 100 managers have ever done that. So yeah, that's a good series. I've got the obviously the team selection series every game week. So whatever happens the rest of the season, subscribe for that and follow the season that unfolds. Well, whatever happens from here, you know, we can say that we were first in the world. And of course, the other video is the Roundup, which is things like the bookies odds, the most transferred players, etc. Crucifix, thanks for the donation. He says, which two, Smith Rowe, Gallagher or Rafinha? Is that who to start, Crucifix? I think I would start Smith Rowe, Gallagher between them, because Rafinha's got Man City, which is obviously going to be a very tough game, you'd imagine. Boris asks, when will the African Cup of Nations start? It's not until, I believe, Game Week 21, which, by the way, is huge news for Chelsea, because in Game Week 21, Chelsea play against Liverpool at home, so that's a massive fixture. And I believe it's going to be here onwards that Salah and Mane are away. It could just be a couple of games that they miss. I think it depends how far they advance in the African Cup of Nations, but something to have at the back of your heads, because it's going to be blank game weeks, or not blank game weeks, but they're certainly not going to play over those couple of games. Amir says, hi Oscar, Watkins in for Vardy. He plays Norwich tonight. Really difficult one, Vardy, because I think he'll start. He's had his rest, so I think Vardy starts, and therefore I think him and Watkins are about on par on points and predicted points. So I'm not sure if I would be making that move, if I'm honest. I think you can afford to wait a week or save a transfer, and that transfer could be invaluable. You know, it's so unpredictable, so crazy right now, with postponements and COVID outbreaks and teams being affected by it. So we'll see. But I did briefly talk earlier about this Man City leak, and again, I don't know at all if this is a particularly reliable source, but they apparently have leaked one or two bits and bobs before, like Gundogan not travelling in a previous game week. And this is the lineup that they've leaked, which has Mahrez, Sterling and Foden starting. Midfield of Rodri, Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne. The defence is pretty much as you'd imagine. Walker comes in for Cancelo, Zinchenko starts, Diaz and Laporte. Laporte keeps his spot. So we'll see, but I didn't want to dwell on that one too much, because I don't know whether it's a particularly reliable source, but interesting. Let's have another look if there's been any leaks or not. I'm going to make my transfers in a minute. Final reminder to make sure you got your captaincy right, everyone. Bench in the right order. Any leaks? Doesn't look like it. Sam Martin, he's a reliable Leicester leak, and he said, I've just been told there's a number of meetings over here the last couple of days with regards to our game. That's the Leicester game. He said both teams keen to play, and as it stands, it's going ahead. That's about all we have, though, as far as leaks or anything to that nature. Carl reckons Smith Rowe won't start. I don't know. I think he might. He missed the last two. He was an unused substitute last game, and it was a pretty comfortable win, so there was no real reason to bring him on. My gut feel is that Smith Rowe starts, and it might be in place of Martinelli, who admittedly is in good form. I don't think Arteta will play Martinelli up top, so otherwise it would be Lacazette that drops out. Odegaard has to start. Saka has to start. Ahmed, thanks for the donation. He says, how do you feel about Lukaku punt from Ronaldo? It's a big punt. I'm not sure I like the Lukaku punt, if I'm honest. That said, in the Kings of the Gameweek game on the Discord, I did pick Lukaku. He was my player, but you know, that was kind of a punt, and Kings of the Gameweek is just like a 1 week punt. Not sure about Lukaku. I think it's a lot to spend on a punt. You know, you could downgrade Ronaldo and you could upgrade in midfield. You know, I've got one eye on Son myself in a few game weeks' time. You know, if I do this Watkins move here, I've got 6 mil in the bank. So, for example, when the Spurs fixture turned very nicely, which I think is game week 19 here, Son could come back into our thinking there. You know, Spurs really going to have to pick up these points, and they've got games in hand to play. So, I quite like the look of Son from game week 19. So that's a potential move I'm eyeballing further down the line. So yeah, if you end up bringing in Lukaku, you've kind of restricted yourself from that flexibility. It was another donation. Jack, thanks for donation. Oh, I've lost it. It was there and then it just went. Pff. Let me scroll up and find it. He said, best defender under 5 mil. Thinking an Arsenal fullback. I actually think Soufal's going under the radar a bit. This game week he obviously has Arsenal, which is a tough game. I can't really see a clean sheet there, but when we go back to last season, he got 9 assists, kept 9 clean sheets, and he's back in the side. Ben Johnson's out. He's completely nailed. Got an assist against Chelsea, kept a clean sheet last game week. And then after Arsenal, it's a great run of games for Soufal. You know, you could realistically start him all the way from game week 18 to game week 22, bench him for Man U, and then you've got another 3 or 4 games, 3 home games and 4 even, to play him again. So I think Soufal's an interesting one, going under the radar a bit. Aliga says Jota captain. I think Jota's a very, very bold captaincy. You know, there's a chance that he outscores Salah, obviously, but Salah's topping all the charts, like predicted points, etc. So I think I would go Salah personally. I think he's the best pick. I don't think it's the game week to be bold. You know, fair play. Last game week, I think he's number 3 in the world now, but he was number 1 or number 2. He went for Ronaldo captain, who did just narrowly outscore Salah by I think 2 points, but it was incredibly bold. You know, if he'd got that wrong and Ronaldo blanked, then he loses so much ground. So I think you have to take very calculated risks, and I don't know if Jota is the right calculated risk to take. I've got 5 or so minutes till the deadline. I better make my transfer in a minute. Just checking if there's any last minute news or leaks. Let's have a look. Imagine that if we get some kind of last minute leak. Let's see. Doesn't look like it. Nothing through. Anything on Reddit? Don't think so. Joseph says Foden or Bernardo. I prefer Foden. He's got the better underlying numbers, but his minutes maybe are less assured. But I like Foden more personally. Bernardo Silva's numbers actually haven't been that good in terms of underlying numbers. It's been quite some overperformance from him, and other players like Bowen and Gallagher have outperformed him in terms of underlying metrics like shots, expected goals, expected assists, etc. Ahmed says. You missed my super chat. Sorry, Ahmed. Douglas Luiz to Gallagher for a -4, worth it. For a -4. If you're having to fill Douglas Luiz, then I think you can justify it. Yeah. I think I would probably do it. Five minutes to go, everyone. If you have enjoyed the deadline stream so far, don't forget to hit like on it. And if anyone's tuning in late after this stream's finished, I will add timestamps to this stream if anyone wants to jump around to the various bits we covered. And then I'll also be on the Discord, as always, after the stream ends. I better make my move now anyway. So Ronaldo out, Watkins in. And that is done. Let me refresh that because it says Watkins has got a blank. Imagine I accidentally transferred the wrong player. So that's me. I don't think I'll have an opportunity to actually post this while we're live, or will I? Let's see. Can we do that? No, I'll do it after the stream. Windows noise. Mayo says bench order Wilson, Brownhill, Williams. I think I would go Wilson, Williams, Brownhill. YouTuber, thanks for the donation. He says Ramsdale or Sanchez. Ramsdale. Noah says triple captain Salah. No, I would save it. I would absolutely save the triple captaincy for the double game weeks later in the season. As we were saying earlier, there's quite a few games already that are going to be rearranged, and these are guaranteed double game weeks. Could even be triple game weeks. We've got Spurs with 2 guaranteed double game weeks, or maybe a triple game week. So you use your triple captaincy on a player like Son or Kane, or you could use it in one of the Chelsea double or triples. You could use it on Ronaldo. He's got the game against Brentford to be rearranged now. So later in the season we're going to have a lot of double game weeks. We could even get another triple game week. So again, this is going to be the importance of having 2 transfers banked if possible. I'm on the wrong one. There we go. Yeah, so it's going to be crucial as ever to have 2 transfers banked, because if we get, and it could happen, we could get an unexpected double game week later in the season. Having those 2 transfers banked to just jump on the double game weeks could be massive, huge upside. Louis says Livramento or Antonio to start. Antonio, absolutely. Akash, thanks for the donation. It says Ramsdale, Trent, James, Livra, Salah, Bernardo, Jota, Mount, Antonio, King, Brozier. 1 free transfer. Any suggestions? How much have you got in the bank, Akash? It's always good to know that as well. It makes it a bit easier to make suggestions. Livramento is obviously a concern, but I don't know how much you can afford Cancelo and Duffy obviously won't play, so I think you have to spend a transfer in defence. Depending on what you've got in the bank, you could go Livra to maybe Alonso. Yeah, maybe Alonso. It's difficult because there's not many good options in defence either at the moment. You know, we're talking about Soufal, but I don't think it's the right game week. But based on the fact of you having Cancelo and Duffy out, and Livramento is supposedly a doubt, I think you have to sell Duffy or Livramento, but it just depends how much you've got in the bank and then therefore who you can afford as replacement. But yeah, you kind of have to prioritise that, otherwise you can't field an 11. TZD says -4 to take Sanchez out for Ramsdale and Guaita. It's an impossible one to answer because we don't know whether Sanchez is actually out or not. There's the rumour that one of the Brighton keepers has COVID. We just don't know which one it is. It could be Steele, or it could be Steele that comes in. So I can't answer really because I don't have all the facts to give you an educated answer, if you know what I mean. 3 mil on the bank at Karsh. I think I would probably get... I think I'd be tempted to get Alonso, if I'm honest. I still think Alonso is going to get a haul at some point over the next 4. There's just not many options besides that who you'd really want. You know, I think Palace could keep a clean sheet. Southampton are missing, I think it's Adams and Armstrong up top. So I think the move has to be Duffy out. I'd probably even prioritise Duffy out over Livra. But in terms of which defender to get, yeah, maybe Alonso. JK says, Gray to Gallagher -4 or field one or the other. Gray. Difficult one. I think I'd probably take the -4. I don't see Everton scoring against Chelsea, if I'm honest. I think I'd probably take the -4. You know, Everton, they're missing Richarlison as well now. It just goes from bad to worse. You know, so they're missing so many key players. Struggling for goals, obviously. They're amongst the worst in the league for expected goals over the last 6. I'm just refreshing my team to make sure it's all in the right order. Looks good. That's me locked in. So the transfer I made was Ronaldo to Watkins. I've got 6 mil on the bank. I decided against the -4. Mo Mites has called it. Time's up, he says. Ryan says, time. I think that is it. We're at the deadline, everyone. It's just turned 1:15 on my clock. Ace says, locked in. That's it. So that's it. We made it to Game Week 17. Thank you so much, everyone who tuned into this stream. I really appreciate you all being here. It's been a cracking stream, and we broke the record for viewers on the stream. So thank you so much for that, for being part of that. If you did enjoy the stream, don't forget to hit like before you go, and of course subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And if anyone's not in the Discord, I will be on there straight after this stream and throughout the game week this week. I'll put the links to that in the chat so you can join the Discord if you'd like to. There we go. But that's it. I don't think I've got anything else to add really. Yeah, I better not ramble on anymore, but I will be on the Discord, so thank you again for being here. I did put the vice captaincy on James. I forgot to mention that. I think in this circumstance, you just have to vice captain in 2 different fixtures. You know, normally I would say Trent's the best vice captaincy, but imagine the Liverpool game doesn't go ahead. So that's something to keep at the back of your heads as well, everyone. Captain and vice captain in 2 different fixtures, just in case. And lastly, Oscar says, love the videos. Thank you so much, Oscar. From one Oscar to another, appreciate that. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been a great stream. Really enjoyed it. And I'll see you soon for the next one. Thanks all.